Good morning, everyone. Here is Maura Privezzanetti, San Francisco Cloud for Hawaii. Good morning, Filippo Passerini from New York City.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Ciao, Filippo. Thanks so much for being with us today. And we are very excited to hear something from you in regard to specifically the IT world, how it is changing and basically reshaping everyone's kind of lifestyle as well, not just technology or business. So let me quickly just share a few notes about Filippo Passerini. Um, was an executive, a global executive and leader of Procter and Gamble for many years, also being a pioneer as a CIO, top CIO many times in his long career. And today, he founded Initia Consultancy, and he's in different boards as an advisor. We at Cloud for Hawaii also can treasure Filippo Passerini as a board member to advise us. So we are really happy and honored to have you here today in a video conferencing
Oh,
between
thank
the two coasts of the United States. So, Filippo, the main thing I would like to ask you is one very simple thing. In the last years, for decades probably, and who's better than you who can tell us? We've been always hearing about digital transformation. Every big company was hardly working on digital, digital transformation. But reality is that according to McKinsey, we just learned that because of COVID-19, finally, companies had to really speed up to do something, to make something happen. And so they count that just in 8 weeks, kind of 2 months, we've seen some equivalent transformation to 5 years. So something is happening to face, handle, and weather crisis, mainly because of COVID-19. Please tell us, how do you think um, IT managers, CIOs now who have a real clear call to action can help businesses to create value, business value, and growth?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here to have a dialogue. And I hope with all the friends who are connected, we can have an interaction. So I would invite everyone to jump in uh, with any questions at any time. I think we are at an inflection point. COVID created an inflection point. Now it's up to us whether we can leverage, we want to leverage this inflection point or otherwise. This is not the first time that there is something happening. Downturn in economy, instability, social, political, economical. So I would not assume that because of what happened over the last 6, 7, 8 months, automatically things will be different, will be better. From a technology standpoint, people are talking a lot about the role of IT in COVID. Well, you know, to be very pragmatic, I would say, well, for most companies, it has been about support and work from home. So it is the infrastructure, connectivity, video conferencing, of course, the video conferencing has been booming big time, but for most companies, it has been on the infrastructure side. Then there are companies, businesses where different business models. So if you are an Amazon or the like, of course, the role of IT has been very, very prominent. But in general, for most of the other companies, IT hasn't played or has not been required to play a leadership role in the business during COVID. So I think it's up to us, IT professionals, to take this opportunity of an inflection point to truly, truly drive leadership in the business. For me, it's all about we can drive leadership. And I will stop here in a spirit of dialogue, but it's also interesting to think about what is really, really digital transformation, because reality is that it's become so popular and everyone now uses this expression. I don't know anyone, I know all the consultants, all the big ones, in the US and worldwide. I don't know anyone who is not claiming expertise on focus on digital transformation. So I think it's also good to demystify some of this language, to really be concrete. What is really, really that we are what is the North Star? What is that we're trying to accomplish? What is the business value we can create? So, in summary, yes, there is an inflection point. Yes, it's an opportunity. Things may or may not happen for the better. It's up to us to really drive this crisis to turn an issue into an opportunity for IT professionals to play a stronger leadership role in the business.
Thank you so much. So I'm already reading something from one of our spectators asking about if it's not a mindset change that now is required to IT. I guess because as you were saying, what we are seeing is mainly still an infrastructure empowerment, but isn't it a mindset change that we should expect from IT people?
Yeah, I think the answer is, of course, is yes. And then I think probably the interesting question to have a dialogue on is what should that be? What is the mindset change? Again, I'm trying to be very, very pragmatic, very real. So, yes, it's always a good thing to have a mindset change. Now, what can it be or what should it be? I this is my learning now in 35 years in technology. I was, as you said, now 12 year CIO with Procter and Gamble globally. I was CIO in within Procter and Gamble, Latin America, North America, Europe, then corporate CIO. So I've been in IT and business. But the interesting thing is that I was in business. I learned business for Procter and Gamble, and that gave me the opportunity to see some of the differences between the mindset in business and in technology. And this is the way I would characterize it. And when I understood it, that made a quantum difference in my professional development and also in my impact on the business. When I was in business, so I went from digital technology, from IT to the business, then came back into IT as a CIO, as president for our global business services and so forth. So I also had the opportunity to be in the top positions within Procter and Gamble. So I had fortunately a big visibility on the business, what was relevant and what was not. And this is the way to our friend who asked a very, very good question. Should we change the mindset? I think the mindset is to truly, truly operate retail leadership as business leaders. And this is what happened to be very, very real, very concrete. So the fiscal year of Procter & Gamble is July 1st, the end of June, the year after. So this is the fiscal year. Now we are in February this year, and I need to commit to the business goals for the following fiscal year, meaning 15, 16 months from now. This is the cycle time in the business. And I get to commit to deliver goals, profit, volume, market shares, profit margins. And oftentimes I don't have all the building blocks. I need to, you know, commit to certain goals without knowing how to deliver. This is the mindset in the business. When I come back into IT, I realized that the mindset in IT was different. The mindset was, in order for us to commit, we have to make sure that we have the answer to all possible questions, time, cost, quality, volume. And I said, well, this is really where is the disconnect between the business and IT, that when we speak our language, for the business leaders, it doesn't resonate because they are used to take a risk to commit in advance. So, long story short, the way I would characterize it is yes, we need a mindset change. And for me, the opportunity is to move completely towards more of a business leadership mindset. Is how can we contribute with this great ammunition, which is a technology that now everyone understands. Everyone understands the role technology can play. Everyone appreciates it. So we have competitive advantage here because we don't need to explain how important is technology. Everyone gets it. So leveraging this advantage we have, this inflection point, the question is how can we truly get into a business mindset where we drive results at any cost, where we drive change, where we transform the operating model of a company. I believe the opportunity we have in IT, which is unique, is a truly transform the business model, the operating model of our companies. This is where we can have a unique, distinct value creation for the business.
That's very interesting. To recap a little bit for those ones who eventually, they just tuned in. Basically, Filippo Passerini, a former CIO for P&G, Procter and Gamble, one of the top and the global market pioneers in reshaping the role of CIOs, is telling us that yes, COVID-19 gave us an opportunity to speed up digital transformation, but still there is plenty room to really make things happen because up to today, 9 months later, almost, we've seen a lot into still IT infrastructure things. CIOs, IT people are taking care of the security network to have people in remote working and on and on. But still, we need to improve a lot in the digital transformation. On that point, Filippo related a second aspect, responding a question of a spectator about the changing mindset change. So you said, of course, we need pragmatically to get a mindset change. But my question is, um, and this brings us to a business model transformation. Okay, as a crisis, but as an opportunity. We have an opportunity. But of course, it's critical. because a lot of big businesses have been disrupted. Like their business models before COVID-19 was something, and overnight was disrupted and changed. But my question for you, Felipe, is um, don't you think that there is also a problem, and you were speaking about leadership, about how can a CIO make things happen in this direction if there is not a CEO empowering them? Because it's also about hierarchy in a big company. You know, we do data collection, customer insights as Cloud Hawaii, and we're one of the global leader in the segment of uh, understanding consumers, extracting data, and enriching CRM, strengthening the relationship. So we speak with CIOs. But when we have some smart guys really who understand that, they need to let the company understand that they need some budget, let's say, allocated. So isn't there a problem of leadership, like who needs to really give the mic to the CIOs? It's not just about them. Don't you think so?
Well, I would be careful because this uh, mindset or this language could lead us to disempowerment. We could say, well, my CEO doesn't appreciate it, doesn't understand it, doesn't get it. It's the culture of the company. And this is very, very dangerous for us IT professionals because we may end up with delegated responsibility to things that we cannot influence. So for me, the North Star is always what can we control? What can we influence? If we cannot influence it, let's do not worry about it because it's frustrating. There is nothing we can do. So regardless of how progressive the CEO might be, the question, the strategic question is, for me, is not to worry about the CEO, is what can we do? And what I found in Procter and Gamble and across now for 35 years, which always works, is start with the value proposition. With the value proposition. What is the value creation? What is the, it's not about the technology per se. I talk the attitude to consider each and every technology, no matter how good and cool and progressive it may be, to always consider it a commodity unless we can prove the business value. So if we talk to the CEO and our management, the board about what is the exactly the value for the business, and from there, how and why the technology is an enabler is a prerequisite. These conversations, in my experience, have always been very, very successful, very successful. And because it is a pull, it's not a push. It's not about pushing the idea of mandating technologies, mandating change. It's about creating the conditions for our business partners, for our colleagues in other functions or in other areas of the business, or for the CEO and senior leaders to see the value proposition, the value creation for the business. If we articulate it well, things will go very, very nicely. Now, it requires new skills in IT, which is the ability to empathize, to communicate effectively, active listening, public presence. So it requires a package of skills which are not over the years, necessarily the way IT people grow up. But this is the opportunity for us to become a bigger package, a more complete package for the business. And this makes the job a lot more interesting, I'd say. Individually, collectively, is not only value creation for the business, but it is also about driving a much more interesting job.
Thank you so much. Well, we see that businesses are more and more interested in being a data driven. Of course, if you are data driven, you can better plan your actions with specific KPIs, and you can measure even the return of the investment. And in this case, don't you think that there is a good bridge between, let's say, CEOs who are looking for better data and CIOs, because they can help a lot with technologies like, for example, guest Wi-Fi, a customer collection of different digital touch points, because they can help. And if we look into a recent survey by Deloitte, they say that 40% of CEOs are now looking into CIOs as business buddies, you
Correct,
know, which
correct.
is a good thing. But so do you think this could be the way to make things concrete and pragmatically happen?
Oh, oh yeah, big time, because data is becoming the common currency and the common language between all constituencies. However, in Procter and Gamble, my experience is that we need to be careful not to boil the ocean. Or sometimes our business partners ask us for data, for better analytics, better business intelligence. And oftentimes, in my experience, it's not clear what is exactly the problem that we're trying to solve. Let me say this, in 35 years, I never seen one company, one, that started with a data warehouse, with, constructing databases or data in architecture as being successful. I've never seen that, because in these cases, the project will always be seen as a cost. You need to justify all the capital to build infrastructure in the hope that something will come later. I've seen very successful the opposite, which is to start with very concrete use cases. What is the problem or the opportunity that we can address? What is the specific application? And the application drives what data we need and what architecture we build. So I will the reverse engineer what is the common wisdom, the common logic, because the logic doesn't work. It works the opposite. Similar example in analytics. Some people believe that now we have all these analytics because there is, what is called big data. By the way, big data is a bad expression because big data is about value. Big equals value. If there is more applications, more use cases of data around velocity and variety, then there is about value. So big data is probably may or may not be a good idea, but it's very cliche, and so it took fire. Of course, everyone talks big data, but the common wisdom is that big data has generated interest for analytics. The truth is the opposite. We live in a world where there is a complexity, there is a constant acceleration of speed to market and volatility. That requires better tools to manage the business, much more what if analysis, scenario planning. And this is analytical models. And the analytical models and the need for analytical models has led to the full utilization of big data. And this is how the big data, in a way, has been there for a long time. What is different now is that people want to use the big data because so the tools have been created because there is a business there. So in my experience, it's always the business environment, the business need that drives the technology, builds technology, and the technology then is what supposedly satisfies. In fact, interesting, talking technology in general, the most innovative times in technologies have been during the World War One or World War Two. During World War Two, the development of technology has been phenomenal in just 4 or 5 years because there was a need. So it's always the business that drives the technology. So I would think about resequencing some of these thoughts in a different way.
That's very interesting. And another spectator saying something resonating with your words about the fact that isn't it like most of the times technology being too much self-referential tech for tech, and instead should be more on starting from the consumer, meaning from a business need and then coming back? Isn't it like this?
Completely, completely. And actually, one advice I have for us, for like the professionals, like the uh, practitioners, is never ever talk technology with a business. Talk about solutions, and the technology is our business. So, just as an example, don't talk SAP, talk ERP, because ERP is the business process, SAP is the platform. And the moment we talk technology, first of all, we make ourselves captive of the technology, because we identify the process with the technology. And secondly, we disempower ourselves because in reality, we are leading, in this example, an ERP transformation. And how we do it is completely our call and our business. So we need to be careful that we don't disempower our work and ourselves, and actually finding things that we continue to build and empower our leadership in the business.
That's very interesting. It reminds me about the Cool Vendor Award that Gartner recognizes every year. And it comes through three eyes criteria: in being intriguing. When the technology is intriguing means you're consistent. Being innovative, you're making things happen for big corporations who couldn't do without your solution. And being impactful,
Yes.
uh, we are very proud because we got the Cool Vendor 2018 because of these three criterias. But the main one that we really love, because it means that we are transforming ourselves as a tech company itself, is the impactful. Impactful means bringing an impact beyond tech for tech
Yes.
and being much more customer centric
Yeah.
and bringing
Completely.
companies to that. So what do you think about it?
Completely. Now, the one thing that I say across, so to this point, Mauro, what is then value? What is bringing transformation to the business? What is? And here again, to go very, very deep. not to stay at the overall philosophical language level, but to be very, very specific. I've seen that there is three goals, three priorities all companies have. And of course, each company is different, so there may be a few more. But by and large, the three that I've seen are common now for at least 10 years is one, all companies want to accelerate their product or services to market. The cycle time has been increasing dramatically. If you look at the automotive industry, up until what is 10, 12 years ago, um, which is a long time, but it is not before Christ, right? It is 10, 12, 15 years ago. They used to produce a new model a new car model every 4 or 5 years. Now they're down to 10, 12 months. So the cycle time, if you work in that industry, is amazing. In 10, 15 years, you have increased the cycle time of product innovation to market by fivefold. The fashion design, of course, consumer electronics, not even to mention, but even consumer goods, like Procter and Gamble, CPG. Now you wonder how many different firms do you need to wash a shirt? Well, consumer is into innovation, cycle time. So that is something that all companies are very interested in. And this is where technology can drive dramatic transformation. The second is making employees more productive and more effective for many reasons. One is cost. The other one is to free up capacity to work on business building rather than mundane transactional work. So every company that I know, each and every company, they're really, really focusing on making their employees more effective, more efficient, more productive. And the third priority is building capabilities for the business. So this is where technology, analytics, intelligence, all the new cool stuff. This is where technology, they can play a major role. So I would use this as a framework, as a way to think about where we, where to play, and then how to win. The where to play is those areas where we can bring differentiating value. And then how to win is what capabilities we can bring to the organization and to the business. If we apply these models, these frameworks, and the way we work every day, in my experience, we stand a much higher chance to be successful. And this is about being relevant in the business. The joke I make is that English is my third language. And the best word I've come across in English is relevance. Relevance. If we are not relevant, we become a commodity. A commodity. So the question for us individually, collectively, as IT leaders, is always what is the North Star? What is that makes us relevant in the business? And if we follow these business priorities, which again different to each company, but by and large, increasing the cycle time to market, freeing up capacity in the organization, and capabilities. If we transform there through technologies, I truly believe we will be very, very successful and make a big leadership impact on the business.
Thank you so much, Filippo. So this is a great and inspiring framework that you just shared with us. Where to play, how to win, and focusing on relevance. Relevance is the password, I guess. So if we do not get other questions, I would take the last one and then we wrap up. So we have someone also asking about what would you suggest to IT people who are entering organizations and businesses today to follow? Like, what is the best suggestion for IT people to bring a cultural change in the company?
I would say this. What has been fundamental for me and for my organization where I trace all the success of what we did was a knowledge of the business. Knowledge of the business. An IT person who works for company X, Y, or Z, by and large, that work, technical work, technology work, can be done by someone
In outsourcing.
in outsourcing, in BPO. This is the challenge. That work, if it is just technical and technology, chances are that work can be done by someone in a low cost service center. And you can do it in outsourcing, you can do it in your captive, but can be done pretty much by possibly other people. So this is a provocative thought. I would say what differentiates us, what makes us as IT professionals within our company X or Y or Z, what makes us distinctive, how to win. And what differentiates us is not the knowledge of technology per se, because actually, if anything, probably people outside of our company can can keep up faster and better than we do. What differentiates us is the knowledge of our business and bringing technology from the outside into our business. So our primary responsibility and opportunity is to know the business, how the business works. Every time I knew the business, as well as my business partners in supply chain, in sales, in marketing, and finance, I was able to drive transformation. And every time my people learned the business intimately well, they were able to drive dramatic change in the business. So I got to the point of assigning my people and myself to work in the business for 6 months, 9 months, 3 months. And if you are doing, for example, a new system in planning or in order to cash or in a source to pay, well, I recommend spend time as a user, as an employee in that area, because you get to know what is the really of the business. Otherwise, we are seen as a people who are distanciated from the business. They bring, technologies, but they don't understand how truly the business works. So my play is anything we can do to get close to the business, to understand how the business works, to be truly intimate into the detail of the business processes. That drives a dramatic opportunity to truly transform the way business is done. And digital is then the how to, it's not the what. So the what is we have to transform to accelerate the cycle time, free up resources, be more efficient. This is the what. The how to is digital. This is what we bring. A person from finance will do something different. A person from HR will do something different. We bring digital. Now, the fortune we have is that we are at the point where everyone has an interest in technology. When I began, 35 years ago, to work in technology, I had to explain the value, how everyone gets it. So we have, starting point, which is a lot better now than three decades ago. But then for us to take advantage, we need to do a step further, which is, hey guys, let's truly understand what is needed Uh, Transformation happens at the intersection of what is needed and what is possible. What is needed and what is possible. Because if we do something which is not needed, useless, irrelevant, if we have a big idea about a business but we cannot do it, hey, it's not worth it, right? So we need to find a sweet spot between what is needed in the business and what is possible. And the two together is really a 2 plus 2 equals 7.
Thank you so much, Filippo. So many
Pleasure.
takeaways, really
Anytime.
inspiring, and you made very clear one thing for me today, and I hope everyone else who tuned in can get their own takeaways. But one is very relevant to use the password that you suggested, relevant, is that crisis uh, brings opportunity to change business model, and this can be possible from an IT guy.
Yeah.
IT people can reshape business models. It's not just about the tech. The tech is the how to, but it's about the what. The business model now it's in crisis, and it's kind of even good because if there is crisis, that can be an opportunity, and it's not by chance that crisis. It's a Greek word meaning
Yeah.
to decide, and decide is a Latin word that means cut. When you have to cut and make a decision. So thanks so much for your inspiring framework, and
Anytime.
we look forward to hearing from you
Thank
as
you.
many times as possible.
I look
Thank you,
for.
everyone.
Thank
That's a
you
wrap.
for being on the call. Thank you. Bye bye.
Grazie. Bye bye.